Hello there. As you probably know if you are following my channel, I have recently started to offer private chess lessons. So for adult improvers who think they need a coach and who think they need someone to guide them in their chess improvement, in their thinking process, and maybe to learn them some stuff I know about chess. So I announced in a video that I am open for students, that I'm accepting students for private lessons, and I also announced that I have a rather unique method which I think works very well with adult improvers. Since that time and even before, I have gathered a few students of mine, so I'm now coaching several adult improvers, and I think this is going very well. And in this video I wanted you to show a part of my chess coaching lessons, let's say like this. So the major part of my method and of my coaching is to give a student to play against the human-like engine. I use Maya on Lichess, and then while student plays and thinks about position, he thinks out loud, he assesses the position as he sees it, and then if there is a need, I guide him with my questions, suggestions, and so on. I try to get him to the more profound understanding of the position. So in this way, I implement many general principles, many chess lessons, but from the real game, so emerging in the real positions. So instead of giving my students some position from some book and think about some random position which I found somewhere, I let him play against the opponent, and then try to apply general principles and correct way of thinking and chess logic and everything in the concrete position. And you will see in the next minutes of this video how this works in practice. Besides this part, which I will show, I also offer kind of support. So I give advice to my students on individual advice. So what should they be focusing on? How much time do they have for chess? How do they prefer to do chess? Do they prefer books, or they prefer doing stuff on the computer? How much time do they have? How much effort are they willing to take? So each student is individual, so I have to think and give individual suggestions to my students. And also if students wants me to, I analyze his games. I will not show this part now. I will only show the playing part, because I think this is the most interesting. But I also offer to analyze students' games. So usually students send me games before the session on email or private message or whatever, and then I look at the game, and then I tell them which were the key moment in which I think they have a flow in their way of thinking and applying chess logic in their games, and this is also a way of improvement. Like I said, I have several students already, and I do have some time slots for accepting maybe 1 or 2 students. So if you are interested in this kind of training, I will put my email below, so you can send me an email, and we can arrange a lesson if you think that this will be useful for you. Okay, so let me now show you how does it look in practice.
Maya 5. Okay, we're getting out of my range, which is good.
Yeah.
And just long. So white or black, or just random?
Whatever you want. I mean, it's up to you. The last time you were white, right?
Okay. So we'll
Okay,
try black.
then be black. Okay. So let's go through the openings. Okay.
That's unusual for at least the level I play to see.
Yes, this is unusual. Okay.
If I don't play soon, it's gonna resign, right?
Yeah. So just
go ahead.
play e5. It should be a good move.
I'll say go.
Okay, now this is very unusual opening.
Yeah.
But okay, it's instructive nevertheless. So your goal in the opening is to grab the center. So if your opponent gives you the opportunity, I should just do.
So like,
yeah,
take another pawn to the center.
I mean, I never saw this setup to be true, but yeah, I would just play like this. I would just put my both pawns. He'll probably play d4, Try to challenge the center. Okay.
So he's challenging this pawn.
Mm-hmm.
So I could protect with the f pawn, the dark bishop, or the knight. The knight at least is developing.
Okay. Do you see some other? What else can you do when something is attacked?
I could push it
Okay.
and attack his knight.
Okay. So what do you think about? Try to calculate this move. So this is the first obvious move is to move the piece, and especially if you can move it with attack, then you should. This is maybe the first thing you should consider. So try to calculate. So when you push the pawn, what can he play?
He can come to e5 or g5, or he can go back, which is unlikely, and then h6, way out on the edge. So I would expect of those for him to come to the g or e5 squares.
Okay, but G and G5 and H4 are not actually available. So he's limited. You can see that the queen covers this square.
Oh, right. So probably would come here. Would be most likely.
Mm-hmm.
Which then I can, attack with the bishop and send him somewhere else.
Yeah, the fact is that this knight doesn't have many squares. So D2 is not available. H4 and G5 are not available. So he doesn't have actually many squares. He has D4, but if he goes D4, you can play C5 and kick it away further. So so his knight is very limited. So I don't know this opening. I don't know the hidden possibilities, but it looks for me that E4 should at least be one candidate move. Right. Okay, another candidate move you said is knight C6, just developing. Okay, and bishop to D6. Bishop to D6 is okay, but you just need to be aware that at that point your D pawn is not protected anymore.
Right, it blocks the queen.
And the F6 is not an option. You should not move your F pawn so early in the game, especially if you are black. Right. So I would not even consider F6. Okay, so those three candidate moves, I would say that well, you have to choose. I would say that bishop to D6 maybe should be avoided because it's committing a bishop and cutting the queen. So I would consider something between knight to C6, just solid defense, or grabbing the space with E4. So I think you should now decide what do you like more.
Right. I guess my first instinct was to defend it, but attacking could be interesting. What would my response be if he came to the E5 square? So we could then, there's lots of options, I suppose.
Yeah, the question you should ask yourself is, does he threaten anything if he comes to E5? Do you have to react to this move? I don't see how. So right. Even if he comes to D5, you don't have to forcefully respond to it.
Right. I mean, I think if my knight ends up on C6, he'll probably move his bishop out and pin it.
Yeah, and also this is blocking your C pawn, and usually maybe you want to keep this option of moving C pawn flexible.
So should we try the push?
Okay, let's try. We'll see what happens.
Confirm. So he comes over here. So he's controlling B5, C6, not really C6, but maybe a little bit. And just sort of centered. So I feel like I would just develop another piece, like throw the G knight out, or.
Okay. What about this knight? Can you attack this knight with maybe you can grab more space by attacking this knight? Yeah. So C5 is also a strong option,
right?
Because you are as black, you usually want to play especially in the openings in which you have the pawn on d5, then the c5 is the move you want to play sooner or later. This is usually the so-called liberating move. So c5 is usually the move you want to play as black at some point, and usually white doesn't allow you to play c5. And then usually in this d5 openings, the struggle is you try to prepare c5, and he's trying to stop you for playing c5. And here you have the privilege to play c5 for free, and even with a tempo. So I would strongly consider c5, but you just need to calculate what if he comes to, for example, b3, or he can come to b5.
Right.
So
he's on b.
He has these two options, or he can go even back to c2 or e2. Then okay, he's just cramped.
So if he comes here, now he's attacking my pawn, but it's being guarded by my bishop.
Yeah.
I'm not very worried. Although, yeah.
If he comes to b5, then if you kick it with h6, does he have any good squares to go? I don't think so. So if you play c5, he goes to b5. You play h6, he can go only to a3. And then this is the usual stuff. So in these openings, when you play with your d pawn, so you play d5, or as a white you play d4, you always want to have your knight. I mean, it's preferable to have your knight behind the c pawn. So you will develop your knight probably on c6, but it's better than if it is behind the pawn.
Right.
It's usually more active, because then pawn and knight are very well coordinated. They control same squares, and it's a nice thing to have. So I would say that your plan is after c5. Then you could develop your knight on c6, and it's a very nice setup to have.
Should I be worrying much about the bishop coming in to check?
Okay, you should calculate this. I think you can. So what if he checks you? I think you can just defend
with the bishop.
And then maybe yes, then he can bring another piece. He can bring the queen to a4. But I don't think you should worry. I mean, this is something you should also calculate in the real game. So this is good way of thinking. So look at the check. So the check is bishop b5 check, and then he has follow up queen a4, and then in the game you should calculate if this is something to be worried about.
But probably his knight will come on one of these.
He'll probably go back to b3.
Yeah, or he'll block the bishop here.
Yeah, or he'll give a check like in between move. So there are some stuff to calculate here, but okay, let's see what happens. I mean, in the real game, you should calculate all these options.
Right.
Okay. What now?
The queen's blocked, which is nice. So now we should start getting some pieces out, right? Maybe the b knight, probably. Tuck it back here.
Okay. So between g knight and b knight, which do you prefer and why?
Let's see. The g knight is kind of filling a space. We have lots of room here, which is good. The b knight would prevent an immediate check if the bishop comes out.
Yes. So this is the reason. So yes, the g knight will go to f6, but it's not in a hurry to go there. So I think preventing the check is nice. And you are also controlling a5. So this knight on b3 could jump on a5 maybe, but you're controlling a5.
So like there. And I'm controlling a5 twice now.
Yeah.
Queen as well.
Yeah.
Okay, confirm. And there it is. We're expecting that.
Okay.
So I could move the bishop at the expense of guarding the d pawn. And the knight. I could leave the knight knowing it's guarded by the b pawn. I could kick the bishop, or at least threaten the bishop with my a pawn. I could just ignore it all and get these two pieces out of the way so I could castle sooner.
Mhm. So what are your candidate moves? So a6, knight f6.
Mm-hmm.
What is the typical the first idea when somebody pins your piece? So
Unpin it.
unpin it, yeah. So this should be I think the first consideration. Maybe it's not the best move, but first consideration should be to unpin the piece. So you don't want to have your piece pinned,
Right.
unless you have some good reason to. Maybe you can play h6, and then if he takes, you take. Yeah. If you play h6 is also a good move. I mean h6 he cannot retreat to a4 because you will win the bishop. You
You
just
mean
play b5.
a6? You mean?
Yes. So if he plays a6, he
Yeah.
cannot retreat his bishop to a4 because you'll just win the bishop with b5.
Right.
So this is yeah. So this is a good. This is also a good decision. But yes, but you should consider unpinning as well. So it's just,
Right. So the downside is if he takes the knight here, now I double my pawns on the c file.
yeah.
It's my only way to protect, or I lose my knight, and put the bishop out, which isn't good.
Yeah.
This forces him to make a move one way or the other. Whereas unpinning, if he takes the knight, I keep my pawn structure, and we just trade the knight for his bishop.
I mean,
But
these
I have my
double
queen.
pawns are not a necessary weakness because they are together. They are not isolated double pawns, and they are close to the center. So you will most likely be able to unpin c5 pawn at some moment. So I wouldn't worry about double pawns, but maybe, yeah. I think I think both moves work fine, but you just have to do something. You don't want to keep the position like this. So you want to unpin either directly by bishop to d7 or indirectly by attacking on a6 and then force him either to take or to move away. If he takes, you will have the bishop pair, and I think it's also a nice thing to have. So
Right.
it's your choice.
Uh,
Both moves are playable.
right. All right. Let's try this one. See where he goes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The only move.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So I've got lots of pawns out, no pieces out.
Yeah. This is, but he has the same situation. So,
Right.
but you should now try now start developing. Yeah.
So does it really matter if I bring the knight out or the bishop out next?
Well, usually the rule of thumb is knights before bishops. So if you don't have some good reason to bring out the bishop before knight, it's better to bring the knight because the reason is that this knight belongs to f6, and this is it. And the bishop can go to e7 or d6. So you want to delay this decision, this commitment of this bishop as long as you can. So if you have two moves and you can choose the one which is less committal, let's say like this. So this knight would go to f6 anyway, so you can just as well put it right now at f6 and see what he will play and where would you put your bishop. So this is the reason why usually you want to develop knights before bishops, because knights usually have only one good square to develop, and bishops sometimes have four squares which you can develop. So you want to hold on with your bishops.
And he's sort of pinned in. His queen can't really go anywhere on this.
Yeah, his position.
The rook, this knight can't really go anywhere except over here, a3.
Yeah. But this kind of this kind of openings, it's like a spring. So he's holding back, and then at some point he'll just spring. He'll forcefully attack your center and try to get. He's planning to attack your center at some point and then get quick development of the pieces. So this is this hyper modern approach, but okay, I don't like his position anyway.
Yeah. Okay. Confirm the knight move.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Now he's attacking your center, so this is
right. So if I take, the queen will come forward, threatening this diagonal. If I leave it, he will take. I would take. Then we trade queens, but I lose my castling rights.
Mm-hmm.
Or he can take, and I can take with the knight,
Mm-hmm.
and we're just where we were. And my knight's a little more forward, which is not a bad thing.
Yeah. And also, can you draw an arrow? I want to show you. So let's say that your knight goes on e4. Okay. And now draw the arrow from e4 to d6. So let's say you get back with the knight on d6. Yeah, and now you can see that you can click on the squares e4 and c4.
E4.
Yeah.
And I'm learning how to do this. Okay.
Yeah. So you can see if he moves the d pawn, then you have two good outposts for your knight. So your knight can go forward, and if he attacks your knight, you can retreat your knight to d6, and then you will have the control over e4 and c4.
Right. Okay.
So if he takes, you have this nice maneuver, and you have nice two squares for your knight. So this is why I wouldn't worry. So this is also one principle. When you have tension in the center, usually you are not the one who wants to break the tension. So now this is the tension. He's okay. The situation is tense, and whoever breaks the tension will be worse afterwards. This is not always so, of course, but often it is so. So in this situation, this is like this. If you break the tension now, if you take he takes d3, he'll just develop his queen on a very active square. So you're by breaking the tension here, you're helping him to develop his pieces. And if you keep the tension, and if you let him break the tension, then he's helping you develop your pieces. So I think in this situation, you should just hold the tension and continue your development.
Is there any value of bringing the bishop out and attacking the queen as sort of in-between move? Or should I just bring the dark squared bishop out just to get castling possibilities?
So my instinct is for castling, but okay, this move is also not a bad move. Yeah, let me just think about. I mean, he cannot play f3 because he'll just take the pawn and he will expose his king. Okay, I think both moves are fine. It's good that you want to develop the bishop on e7, dark square bishop, so you don't want to develop on d6 because you want to have d6 for your knight. So this is important. So this is why I told you first develop knight before bishops, because now after you develop knight, he played this move. Now you know where to put your bishop. And the move before you didn't know which square of the bishop is the best, and now you know. So this is the lesson. Okay, now you can develop this light square bishop with the tempo. This is true, and I think maybe this move is even better. Or you can just develop your dark square bishop. I mean, he cannot make attacking moves. He has to move his queen, and he cannot make attacking move with his queen. So
right. But so let's say he moves queen here, double attacking the square. I guess it doesn't matter because this pawn is still guarding.
Yeah.
So I'm not worried.
Yeah, I think so.
Should we try this one?
Yeah.
I guess he could block here.
Yeah, but then you'll just take the pawn, and he has to take with the pawn.
Right.
And then his king is completely exposed. So he doesn't want to do this, I think.
All right, let's see what he does. There we go.
Okay.
So he could also take with the knight, or maybe rook.
I mean, if he takes with the rook, you'll just lose the exchange. So.
Right. So it'll probably be this. And then I just retreat my bishop back one.
Yeah, you retreat your bishop, and then you have to quickly castle and block your king because your king will be in the center. But yeah, I think this is this bishop g4 was actually a very good move. It's good that you noticed this.
Confirm. So now come back here or here.
Good question.
So one keeps the queen pinned, and the other attacks the rook, which will force him to move it, and controls the square for the king.
Yeah, I like this because even then you will, if you can imagine your queen on g5 somehow, then after bishop to h3, queen on g5, it's a mating pattern.
Mm-hmm.
So the only thing I'm thinking about, so there is this rule of thumb which says don't force the opponent to make the move he wants to move anyway. He wants to make anyway. So if you play bishop to h3, he will play rook to e1, but he wants to play rook e1 anyway. So
Right.
you are not winning a tempo by this attack, but you are making him, I think, very uncomfortable because of this. Yeah, I think this is a good. I think both moves are good, but maybe this is more aggressive, more direct move. So
comes forward.
yeah, he comes forward because he wants to guide g4, g2. Sorry, he wants to guide g2 because he sees that there is a mating pattern on g2. So
coming out here. Okay, so here we are. Ideally I'd get my queen on this file to threaten the king. But also, I still would like to castle. Coming out with this bishop also attacks h2, where I could also, bury the queen behind it, or in front of it at some point.
Yeah, but h2 is sufficiently defended, I think.
Right, by the king and the rook.
Yeah, so maybe it's not. Maybe it will be better to think about, for example, a bishop e7 and then bring it to h4. Can you draw the arrow? So yeah, h7 and then h4.
Like that.
Yeah, maybe this is the better plan.
And
but I don't see how can you threaten h2 and your king. This is one, and your king is in the center. So maybe this is just more safe to play like this to cover your king.
Okay.
Maybe.
So finally he gets his knight out. But these two, the e4 and c4, are nice and protected. Which I imagine he's going to try to attack this pawn soon.
Probably, yeah.
But I've got, well, right now the knight's defending, the pawn's defending, and the queen's defending. Although we want to get the knight out of the way at some point. Is there any reason not to just go ahead and castle that you can see? Any other threats?
I don't. And I think that in the future, so if you look at this position, I think these pawns in the center will not matter probably. I would say your plan just approximately is knight to h5 and then bishop to, try to draw the arrow. So knight to h5, bishop to h4, and the queen to g5.
Queen to g5, yeah.
So I think this is your plan. So bring all your pieces to the attack, and then you don't care if he takes all your pawns in the center, because once the king is opened, and you can bring all your pieces to the king, and even you can play the rook lift, like you can bring your rook to e8 after the castles. So rook to e8, and e6, yeah. So I think you should be focused now on the attack, and he should be focusing on defending the king. So this is the game.
So here's probably my best.
I believe so.
Yeah. So the knight's coming back here, which defends this triple defends this h2 square.
Yeah.
Very concerned about that. And potentially he could block a check.
Yeah, I think his idea is to block the G file. So he sees that his G file is open, so he wants to close.
So this could threaten that, bringing my knight over to h5. So if I go here, he goes here, then I would attack. Pawn comes out to take my knight. But then that pawn is very weak currently. Although then the pawn's controlling square here. So what do you think?
It will become a little messy, but I don't know what better thing you can do.
Yeah. Knight here, here, take, take.
And then you can try to bring your queen and maybe attack with your bishop on d6, and then try to rook lift.
Mm-hmm.
So okay, now you have several attacking moves. He had several defensive ideas, so we'll see who will make more pressure. I guess that you are in the advantage because his pieces, his knight and his bishop are not participating in the defense. So you have more pieces. So I guess that you should be able to find a way to break through. So this is the principle of attack of which Lasker speaks, is when you have more pieces on one side of the board, then usually your attack should theoretically work.
Mm-hmm.
He has only 2 defenders, and you have 4 attackers.
So confirm the knight. There we go. So it occurs to me my bishop could come and build tension.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. This is nice. So if he takes the knight, you can take
with nothing. Oh, then I can take his rook.
You can take the rook, or you can take the rook. He takes the rook, and then you can play queen g5, attacking the knight and threatening checkmate.
Oh, a nice little fork.
Yeah, but then he can just come back with the knight. You have to be careful because now he wants to. I'm afraid that if you play this bishop to h4, that you will just give up 2 pieces for the rook, and you don't want to do this because your 2 pieces are very important. I think at the end he will take your bishop and your knight, and you will just have the rook.
So it wouldn't be, if I'm here, he takes my knight, I take his rook, he takes my bishop, then I bring my queen here, check the king.
Oh.
Then I can just take his knight back.
No, but he'll just bring the knight back to g3.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah. And now it's just blocking my check.
So I think one of the principles of attack is that you should exchange defenders. Mm-hmm. So I think here you can just apply this principle and just take the knight. He has 1 defender less, and you just want to exchange defenders, I think. So, I mean, this is a principle, but I think in this position, this is the best you can do, objectively. Okay.
All right. So now I can threaten with the bishop.
Yeah.
And then the queen has more opportunity.
Yeah, he could try to stop you by playing f4, but okay, you will deal. You will have to deal with his defensive moves. But I think you should now just so in this situation you need to keep the initiative. So every move you make has to threaten something. So it doesn't have to be check, but it has to force his response. So this is the idea of attack.
Okay. And it frees my queen and my knight. Or sorry, and my rook.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I guess f4. Okay. So he plays f4, so now he's stopping you for playing g. Okay.
So this is possibility or something like that.
Okay. So let's consider these 2 candidate moves. So one is rook to e8, and another one is queen to f6. Which move makes a threat?
Here.
Yeah, but this is defended. Sorry, I didn't see this. Yeah, this pawn is defended, so it's not a threat. Okay. Okay. I don't know. Somehow I would still go with the rook because you can bring the queen in several different ways. So if you could put your rook on g6, then you can bring the queen later.
The queen's always poised.
Yeah.
Rook is kind of tucked. Probably the best. What is he likely to do?
I think he will try to move his king to h2, probably to try to attack the bishop.
Mm-hmm.
Then you can just defend the bishop with queen to d7.
No.
Something like this. Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. Oh, a different variation, but
Okay. So, but the same idea. So he's attacking your bishop. So I think you can just defend. Yeah, I think you can just defend the bishop maybe.
okay.
And you're also bringing your queen up. But now he'll probably bring the queen to the defense. So maybe. Okay. Let's see what he'll do. I mean, you have time. You can even bring the other rook in the game.
So confirm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay, I see what he's doing now. Now we are in the trouble because if you move the bishop, he can take your h7.
Oh, if I move here, he just comes in, and I have to move over.
Yeah, but if you come to f5, then you are also defending. So you have to. So now you have two problems. One problem is that your bishop is attacked. Your bishop on h3 is attacked, and another problem is that h7 is weak. So you need to think about the move, how to solve both problems with one move.
Mm-hmm. Probably here.
Yeah. So this is the way of thinking. So you have two problems, you have to solve them both, and yeah, this is one way to do this, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And makes that pawn weak.
Yeah, you are making a attack. You are also, you have the possibility of maybe bishop to g6, attack his queen, and so on.
Mm-hmm. So probably my best bet.
I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So that's a possibility.
Yeah, but I'm not sure that you want to waste your time on. Okay, he will probably take with the knight. He'll probably take c5 with the knight. Maybe this is his.
Attacking my queen, and then I'm not too worried about that because the bishop will still be guarding it. So takes. Oh, takes. And then at some point come here to trade the knight for the bishop. Now, that's still guarded. Shoot.
Yeah. What about rook e6?
Rook e6. To come here?
Yeah.
It temporarily blocks the queen's defense, right, of the bishop.
Oh, yes, this is true. This is true. Yeah. Yeah. So this is not good. Okay.
There is this just to harass the queen.
Mm-hmm.
Could just move up.
Yeah. You don't want to play this because then your rook will not have this 6th rank to go.
Mm-hmm.
So you could think about, for example, what about moving your light square bishop to some safe space? Yeah, like there, and then later on you can continue with your plan.
Here
I mean, if he takes your c5 with the knight, you can just take it to the bishop. So you can see that your dark square bishop is not an attacking piece here, because your dark square bishop is blocked. So you should be attacking on the light squares probably.
Mm-hmm.
He has this light square weakness because all his light squares are like holes. So your light square bishop here is this is also the thing in the attack. So you should think what pieces are attacking pieces. So light square bishop is very important attacking piece here, and dark square bishop is not. So if he wants to take on c5 with the knight, I think you can just take with the bishop. If he takes with the pawn, you can just retreat the bishop, and you don't care.
So you think come here, so I could ultimately do this.
Yes, this is something, yeah, which looks reasonable. I don't know what other moves.
So
yeah, just take it.
Okay, so here we are.
Yeah, now you have this very, very strong bishop. So you can see that this bishop cannot be challenged. So this bishop is so strong that it's more powerful than any of his rooks. Because you can see now this bishop cannot be challenged by any pawn, and he has a dark square bishop. So there is no way he can challenge this bishop.
Right.
So this bishop will be there forever, and this is this is in the center of the board. So this is something ideally you want to have for your pieces. So to have the piece in the center of the board, defended by the pawn, and practically unassailable. So try to remember this pattern, because this is something you usually want to achieve as a strategic goal. Okay, right. And now I would just now the center is stabilized. So once the center is stable, the center is blocked, you can now just continue playing on the king side. Yeah, just continue your attack. And also you can see that this bishop is blocking his e3 pawn, and this is blocking his bishop. So.
All right, confirm. So he wants to zigzag.
He wants to put the bishop in the game. Yeah.
So continue with this plan.
Yeah, you can think about continuing with this plan, or you can think about bringing your rook, preparing your other rook to bring to. Yeah, so I think these are two candidate moves. I mean, when he played this bishop, he also wants to develop his rook on his a1 rook. So he wants to include all his pieces in the defense.
So he'll move the queen here or somewhere up here. At that point, would I just take that and get the king out? Yeah,
I think this is probably something you will have to do, but maybe for this reason it's better to have this other rook ready. So once he goes there, then you can bring the other rook.
Right, because he could come here and threaten this bishop. Right.
Yeah, but this bishop is protected, so you don't have to worry.
Oh yeah, by my pawn. Okay.
You can see that the pawn and bishop are mutually protected, so it's ideal setup. So maybe I would first prepare. So this is another rule of attack. Bring all your pieces to the attack. So this is the mistake amateurs make many times. So they go to the attack and they forget about bringing all their pieces. So they just perform the attack with the pieces which are currently there. And if you watch, for example, games of Paul Morphy, he was famous for. If you look Morphy's games, he has huge attack and all his pieces are near to the king, and you think now he will checkmate in two, and then suddenly he brings his rook from the other side of the board. And this is in fact a good lesson, because you should always, if you have time, and now in this position you do have time, he doesn't threaten anything. At least we don't see that he threatens anything. So if you have time, bring your pieces to the attack. So this is one principle of attack.
I can see two candidate moves for him. One is the pawn coming down, which threatens my rook, but I can just bring him over. I can't really take because the bishop will not be defended. I could also see this pawn coming down to release his bishop, which doesn't have any real attacks still, but threatens this pawn that's guarding my bishop. Yeah, but this pawn is guarding by another pawn, so I don't think you have to worry about. You can just replace this pawn with another pawn, and then pawn and bishop are mutually protected. And then, okay, this is a long. I don't think he'll have time for this. Yeah, but this is also something to consider. So let's see what this does. Okay. Not specifically. Yeah. He wants to lift it, right?
Probably.
But now I can move this.
Mm-hmm. And then bring the other rook to the party. Yeah.
Go with this. Now the queen's going to retreat somewhere.
Yeah.
Here or this way. Or here to come back and take that square.
Mm-hmm.
Should we confirm?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That was our plan, right?
Mm-hmm.
Any reason to reconsider?
I don't see anything. Well, if we do something wrong, we will learn from the mistake. It's okay. It's a training game.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's important to know these principles of attack. So how to consistently perform the attack. It doesn't matter if we miscalculate something, it happens.
Right.
So now the principle just says bring another piece.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
This kind of idea?
Yes. I don't see nothing wrong.
Let's see. The queen can't really do much. Now check.
Mm-hmm.
And then I can take the pawn.
Okay, now just consider this this pattern. So you have the option of rook to h1 check, and this if there was a piece on f2, this would be checkmate. So this is very common. This is called Morphy's mating pattern. Yeah. So when you have the bishop, you can see you have the bishop on diagonal, and you have bishop and rook can form this kind of box, and they just checkmate the king.
Mm-hmm.
So if there was no piece, it will be checkmate. But now okay, it's not checkmate, and you should see if then the rook will be defended. So I don't see you have any continuation. So rook h1 check, king f2. Yeah.
Sorry. And then
Yeah, you don't get anything. Then the attack is just stopped and it's over. Yeah. So I think maybe taking the pawn with the.
So here's another possibility, because
Mm-hmm.
rook comes here, king comes here, I come back, he goes down or back again, and then I take his bishop.
Oh, okay. Yeah, great. That could work.
And then
Yeah, he doesn't have any threats.
then there's
Yeah,
more threats.
yeah. This is nice. So check. Yeah, he has to go back, check, and then he loses his bishop. Yeah, very good. This should work. Yeah.
Like that?
I think so. Yes. Okay, now you have to be careful. He's making a checkmate threat.
Right.
But let's think if you have maybe forcing something more forcing here. So if you go rook, now he's threatening a checkmate, and this can be intimidating. But you should look your forcing moves.
Mm-hmm.
So if he goes rook g2 check,
mm-hmm.
Where can he go? Okay.
Well, he can't go here. Well, he could go here, but then I can move back and take his. Well, that's not very helpful because I'm still checkmate threat.
Okay, but if he goes to let's go. Let's calculate. So rook g2. If he goes to h1, do you have any checks?
If I just move my
Okay.
here, and then
do you have some check with some other pieces?
If I'm here, he goes here. I take the pawn. He's got to move again, and I take his queen. Right? Because this will be.
Okay. This is one possibility. Yes. But there is even a better. What is better than taking the queen? There's only one thing better than taking the queen. Okay, so if he goes to h1, if he goes to h1,
goes h1.
Yeah, now you have mate in 1.
Oh.
Yeah, so this is even better than take the queen. So he cannot go to h1. So he can go to f1. Okay, and if he goes to f1, then you can. What do we have?
Not much, right? Then I'm still stuck with this problem.
Yeah, but look at the checks. So in this kind of situation, when you're calculating, you have to look forcing moves. So what check? Which checks do you have in this?
Oh, this will be. Well, that's not a check because
not a check because the rook is there. Okay, so this is not a check. So what other check? I mean, this is not a check. So what check do you have? So yeah,
only this.
Okay, this was the rook. Okay, so this doesn't work. What other check do you have?
Or sorry, if he's here, he's here. I mean, I can move back, but then I lose the rook.
Okay.
Which is not good. I lose the rook on f2. Do I have another check?
Yeah, what you should consider all your pieces. So you're just focus now on the rook and on the bishop, but you have check with the queen as well.
Here.
Yeah, and what does this check achieve?
I stop the threat because he's going to have to take my queen.
Yeah, so you're exchanging queens, but the problem is that after the queen exchange, your rook is hanging. Yeah.
Right.
So this also doesn't work. Okay, now you have considered all, I think, all forcing moves, and none of them work. So I should just well, maybe you should just now think how to defend.
Well, do we go here and hope he comes here just in case he makes the mistake?
Okay, you can hope, but you have to make sure that if he doesn't make a mistake, that this will not worsen your position.
Right.
So I think even if he I'm worried about his threats because you don't have forcing continuation, and his threat is if you play g6, let's say.
Yeah.
Then he can. Then he has a mate in 2, which you cannot stop. I think. Now he has queen to h6, and the next move is queen to g. Yeah. To plug in my laptop.
Sure.
So you have to be careful about this. I mean, you have to be aware of this threat as well.
Well, goodness.
I mean, there are several ways to stop the attack. His attack, you should be winning here anyway. But let me just think about. Let's go to this variation: rook g2 check, king f1. Yeah, it just loses the piece. Okay, so I think your best defense is to. Okay, try to find the defense. So how can you block the queen of attacking g7? Yeah. So this is a little bit passive, but I think this is at least safe.
So that I can maybe come here and here.
Yeah. Or you can come to f5 and force the exchange of queens. I think you will have several options.
Yeah. I don't think I would have seen this move earlier.
Yeah. I mean, you should know this pattern that if you played g6 is the natural instinctive response, but g6 is mate in 2. So be careful about this pattern. Yeah.
Okay, let's see what happens. So take.
No. Take it easy. Okay. When in this kind of positions, usually this pawn is doing you a favor, because this
Right.
pawn is protecting your king. Yeah, it is blocking your king as well. So you need to be careful not to get checkmated. But if you have initiative, you can just you don't have to take. You can just play for the initiative. So, for example, you could consider. So this is often time when the pawn, your opponent's pawn is in front of your king. You usually don't want to take it immediately, because you will only pin your bishop. So I think you can consider, yeah, f5 or h3. So f5 is I think it's almost forcing. Yeah, but it allows queen d8 check. You have to be careful about this.
Over here.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So okay, this could be a little bit unpleasant, but I'm not sure we should worry. And then you could just take the pawn, and he doesn't have any checks, right?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
'Cause
So you don't have to worry about this. So I would just go either
and
there.
now I have checkmate, right? Would be
Yeah.
the next.
Yeah. So I don't think he can defend this so easily. He can just postpone.
Right.
I think so. Okay, let's try. Okay. Yeah, and now it's checkmate. Okay, well done. So yeah, I think you should go through this game. This is very interesting game, and with I think it's a very good lesson on how to attack. So I think all the attacking principles I mean, like I said, it doesn't matter if in these training sessions, if we miscalculate something or we miss some tactics. It's important to apply good attacking habits, and I think in this game we managed to do this. So constantly making a pressure, bringing your all your pieces into attack. You can see that this rook on a8 was, in fact, the key of your attack. So if you forgot to include your rook on a8 and just go the attack with the pieces you had, you will probably not succeed in the attack.
Mm-hmm.
So I think this was a good game, and you should analyze it. You should also analyze it with the engine to see. We probably missed several tactical things, so you can later analyze it with the engine. But the important thing is to understand these principles of attack, so how the attack is rolling. And you can see also how he played. So he played for counter strike. So he didn't just passively defense, but he also he brought his queen to h5. Then he threatened this mate with the pawn f6. So even when you are defending, you are looking for counter strike. So his game is also instructive on how to deal with the attack. Okay, and this is it. Thank you very much for watching. I hope that you find this video useful, instructive, interesting. And like I said, I do have some time slots to accept maybe 1 or 2 students. So if you are interested in this kind of training, just send me an email. It's down in the description of this video, and we can try to arrange something. Thank you very much for watching, and see you soon with more chess. Cheers.